tree. Snaps like a matchstick. Hello and welcome back to Fieldstudy, an exploration into the wild food of the British Isles. It is one of those beautiful sort of gunmetal, lightless December days. And I'm out here in the beautiful countryside of the Isle of Wight, and I'm going to try and convince you that winter is the best time to start learning how to forage. Stay tuned. Beautiful sort of patch of ancient oak woodland just here on the edge of this farm. It's tucked away in the sort of, I don't know, this sort of delve in the ground, and it's just been untouched. And you often find pockets of woodland like this on the island, especially my part of the island, and they are rich and biodiverse. I mean, I know people travel for thousands of miles to go and see Wistman's Woods down on Dartmoor, and it's beautiful, and it's an excellent sort of example of Atlantic rainforest. But I really like these edgelands, the bits which aren't in the guidebook, that are on the edges of farms in the middle of nowhere, that you can find when you're out walking and be surprised by. Look at this avenue of oaks bending over the pathway, curling over into the light like a breaking wave. It is beautiful. I love it. They are species rich, and in the patchwork of agricultural land that is the Great British countryside, they are really important sort of avenues and corridors for lots of things. Whoa, this little bit down here, look at that. I think I could quite happily live here. It's like Mirkwood. It's so easy, especially with the internet, to think that you can find everywhere on a map or social media, and go there and experience this sort of spirit that everyone else has told you is in a place, I think. But lots of the sort of landmark woodlands that I go to, the only thing I see as a person that likes woods and woodland is compaction and, you know, scarcity. It is strange. People evangelize the trees and they forget about everything that's underneath. Yeah, I don't know. So give me a bit of scrubby woodland on the edge of a farm any day. This is the stuff that really gets me excited. Beautiful sprawling holly bush up against this oak. I feel like anyone can go on the internet and, you know, type in ancient woodland, get in their car, drive to it, take their photos, have an experience. And I'm not saying that that isn't real or important. Those things are important. However, I think there's such a bigger reward in finding something, be it a species that you've never met before or a feeling that you've never felt, by just walking with no purpose and finding places like this that are dotted and hidden all over the map. Yeah. What a glorious day. Look at that guy. Look at the shape of his, whoa. Gee whiz. Look at this. All the lichen and the various different bryophytes up there. And then if we look on his branches and up through there, we have polypody ferns. I love polypody ferns. Polypody, polypody, whatever you want to call it, is a type of fern that can use its sort of root structure to get into the gnarly bits of the bark of big oak trees like this. And it can grow epiphytically as an epiphyte, which means that it can grow on other organisms. So you often find this in rainforests and stuff. And yeah, it's one that we can sort of seek out and find here in the UK. You see running all the way along that branch there is just these ferns that are completely subsisting, suspended in the air on this gorgeous ancient oak. I love it. Beautiful yellow gorse bush. Putting on a display. Gorse is a really spiky member of the pea family. I did a full video on it, and I'll put the thing up in the top if you want to learn how to sort of identify it, and I talk through loads of the uses of gorse. But one of the nicest things that I like to do is get the flowers and just put them in sugar, and basically they turn themselves into a lovely coconutty, nutty almond syrup thing, which is really good on ice cream. It's good on everything really. So I might make some of that for Christmas. And even though it's winter, gorse flowers all year round. So you can always find yourself a gorse bush that's in flower. So you can always make beautiful, summery tasting syrup throughout the year. Do some for Christmas. You what? Here at the base of this hogweed plant, we have something very strange. Oh, and there it is. It is, what day is it today? So the winter so far has been quite wet and really quite mild in the grand scheme of things. And I know I'm on the Isle of Wight, which is one of the warmer parts of the UK. But here in early December, we have a hogweed plant, which is trying to put on flowers. That little guy there, it's really, really close to the ground. And, you know, it's just a little bit confused. I think it's sheltered here in this little ditch. We've only had one frost and it hasn't been very heavy. So this is trying to do its spring thing and make flowers and then seed before it's too late. But when you learn plants and you go foraging, it's little things like this that can surprise you and, you know, put a smile on your face in a dark winter's day. Ah, my eyes. They're so puffy. My body's going into hibernation mode, I think. Chickweed. Obligatory jelly ear wiggle. There we go. Some lovely ones in there. These are going to come home with me. Oh, cold. It's a nice little haul. One of the most common and easily identifiable mushrooms that we have here in the UK, the jelly ear, and it persists all the way through the winter. Got loads more chickweed down here, so there is always stuff that you can go out and find. And it's important to remember that when you get out of bed and there's rain hammering against the window, that even if you might wake up groggy and not feel like going outside and your body's telling you to, you know, stay under shelter, keep warm, that, you know, even if you take a short walk from your house into your nearest park, woodland, country lane, wherever you find yourself in the UK, then you will always be able to find something. Something is better than nothing. What you actually get is a walk outside, a little bit of light in the eyeballs. So then winter doesn't become one long, protracted darkness, and you don't fixate on spring so much. Spring and summer in the UK are very short, unpredictable seasons. You can rely on winter. So I think you should get to love it. It's a weird blue pumpkin. Very strange. Look at that. Still some sloes left. Wow, they're in quite good condition as well. That's really, really good to see. That's got me really excited. So I have coming up very soon a few things that I'm going to announce, including a cocktail evening, or 2 or 3, who knows. And one of the things that I would like to make involves sloes in a slightly unconventional way. So yeah, I'm really excited to see them. I will come back and pick them tomorrow in order to make some cocktail ingredients with. But right now, that downdraft, I need to get back. But right now I need to focus on walking. Ooh, lovely haws on the hawthorn as well. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Oh, and they are soft and slightly appley where they've had a couple of frosts. It's actually really nice. Very high in vitamin C, good for the immune system, which, you know, I need at the moment. Precious thing. Look at this. So this is hogweed seed. Usually by this time of year, the wind has rattled all of the seeds off of the plant, like these ones here, but every now and again you can find just a few. So the wind can shake the seeds off of the stems and you're left with these sort of bare umbrella shaped things. But every now and again you find a plant with just a few on like this, and they are incredibly precious to me. These are one of nature's best spices. Obviously, if you're a beginner forager, go slightly carefully. Hogweed is a plant that is in the carrot family, contains some of the most deadly toxic plants that we have here in the UK. And yeah, in the winter time, if they don't have any leaves or anything, there are lots of, the seed heads look like umbrellas basically. So maybe don't go picking them unless you've learned the whole plant all the way through its life cycle. Starting now. Yes, there is a few more beautiful hogweed seeds. So they're going dans le poche. And some more there as well. Beautiful. So where the wind usually comes from that direction, from the southwest, so these have obviously been spared the shaking and the rattling because they're so close into the hedgerow. We're doing quite well, aren't we? So hogweed seed is one of the things that I serve to Jack and Ethan. If you watch the All the Gear video, I served them a sort of spiced hogweed seed honey on pancakes. And they really enjoyed it. Well, they ate it nonetheless. But it's also one of the things, that spiced honey that's spiced with hogweed seed and a few other things is something that I put in my krucznik, which is a sort of honey vodka. But you spice the honey first, introduce it to your vodka, and it makes a really nice honey, really sweet liqueur for Christmas time. So yeah, I might be making some more of that. If you want to see me make that recipe, then say honey vodka please in the comments below. Hey, and these are the beautiful hogweed shoots, which at this time of year, absolutely fantastic. We have them for breakfast. Again, you need to know what you're doing when foraging for this. It is potentially the easiest member of the carrot family to identify. So yeah, it's one that you need to do some research on before going out and picking. But this time of year, you end up with these beautiful hogweed shoots, which are really versatile. And they sort of have a flavour which is unlike anything else. It is just hogweed. They should give it a more appetising name. I wonder what the French call it. Maybe we can use the French name. That seems to be what foragers do. But yeah, it has a delicious sort of strange, oddly spicy, aromatic quality to it. And what I do is I like to wilt it down and then add some crispy chili oil to it and then serve it with a fried egg on top, like a crispy fried egg, a little pile of this underneath, and maybe a round of toast afterwards is a perfect breakfast. Nice way to sort of get you going. Oh, that wind is really coming in now. Right, let's get up this hill. My dad's mate Dave made these. Look how gorgeous they are, with their sort of concentric rings on the inside that catch the water. They're seats, but you can see they've got this moss growing on the inside of it. It's super soft. Something's been scratching at that one. Whew. Glorious day. Oh man, what a day. I don't want to go home. That's interesting. Oh my God, there's a knee and some hazel. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's not for now. That might be for another video. So that hazel's obviously fallen and then grown up at the end in a really quite beautiful way. So it's got a knee in it, which is a very useful bit of wood. It's a beautiful day for fishing. That's better to be out of the wind. We're here in this beautiful hollow way. It's one of my favourites. When the southwesterly comes from there, this bank completely cuts the wind. So sometimes you'll find me laid with my back up against here in gale force winds, just listening to the roar of the wind in the branches above and watching it wave. It's like I'm laying at the bottom of a coral reef and watching all the fronds of seaweed. If you're like me, and I think a lot of you watching are, hollow ways like this are really cool. They are basically cut into the side of the hill by thousands and thousands and thousands of people walking down here, driving their sheep and livestock from the pasture at the top to the pasture at the bottom at different times of year. And basically through human activity, through the power of rain and our feet and our intent and knowledge of the landscape, we form these sunken ecosystems. They're really sheltered, they're usually really wet, and they have these sort of steep banks, which is quite unique, which means as a habitat, they are unlike anything other. It's one of the things that we create that forms this map of biodiversity on the side of what could be a really sort of barren hillside. But next time you're walking down a hollow way, think of the thousands of years of collective history, of conversation, of people walking side by side, you know, from the hilltop where it's probably blowing a hoolie, down to the pub in the village. This has probably been the first couple of miles of many people's journeys, and the last few miles of horrible winter trudging of quite a lot of people's journeys. It's given people shelter. Yeah. It's crazy when you look at a piece of land and then map time, not in months or seasons. Seasonality, if you think about it in food context, is a way of people slowing down. But try and get even slower than the seasons. We're not even talking tree time here. It's almost akin to geological time. Think about the thousands of people that were no different to you that created this. So on a day like today, when the wind is, well, it's actually just dropped, but when the wind is kicking up from the southwest, that I can have a few minutes respite from the wind beating me around the head. Listen to that rain. With nothing between it and the ground, now the leaves are gone. It hits the ground with a sort of different velocity. And to me, if you close your eyes, you can hear the rain entering the woodland with a million tiny footsteps. Or something like that. Sorry, you're here for a foraging video. Come on. What are you up to, mate? This is really weird. So, I have never found, hang on, let's turn you around. I was just walking along here. First I saw that one there, and then this guy. Look at that. I've never seen a stinkhorn this late in the year. It is, well, a fantastic looking specimen. He absolutely stinks, obviously, as the name suggests, but this, yeah, this is the latest I think I've ever seen a stinkhorn out. Wow, man, that is fully ripened. Horrible, actually. And look at this odd cream coloured cap. Beautiful. It's almost like an albino. If any of you mushroom heads out there could tell me when the latest... Oh, don't clear your nose next to it, Joseph. That was a bad idea. If any of you mushroom heads out there can tell me what your latest ever sighting of a stinkhorn is, I'll be really grateful. Yeah, this is weird for me. Usually like October time, I think, is the last time I see anything this sort of spectacular. But look at the size of him. Right, so he's from my little finger to that fold there. That's not accurate measurement, but I can check when I get in. Look at you. Absolutely gorgeous. So it's really weird. You can see a dead fly on the end of that one there. And this, yeah, let's not talk about the opening. But you can see he's come out of its witch's egg, which is what the egg stage is called there. And then you have this really chonky, girthy stipe on it. And then this on the top is what's usually covered in this sort of black, sticky, membranous sort of residue. Yeah, and that's what the flies love. It smells like bins. They land on it, and then it spreads its spores when the flies fly away and land on other stuff, which is pretty cool. But yeah, good to see. I'm so glad I'm up here on a windy hilltop in the rain doing this. And if you want to support the channel and keep me out here doing stuff similar to this and teaching you all the things that I know about the landscape, then please consider becoming a channel member. You can hit join in the thing down below, I think, and for less than the price of a pint of beer, you get an extra video a week, which is usually me out with this tiny camera, you know, foraging and doing all the stuff that I get up to in my daily foraging practice. Ah. And I was waxing lyrical earlier about making syrup with gorse, but possibly the best use for it in the winter is for hiding behind, because these thousands of little spines actually make the wind frustrate into millions of little eddies, which dissipates the speed of it, which means on that side it can be 35, 40 mile an hour, and on this side it's about 15. It's beautiful. It's what the sheep use it for. If in doubt, do what the sheep do. That's actually really bad advice. Oh man. Back out into the wind. Ah. Medic! Someone's kicked over this beautiful bluet. Wax capsule on the floor. Beautiful. I love mud. I love mud. This is mud season, as I like to think of it, and I've been thinking about mud quite a lot recently. I know it sounds weird, but hear me out. Mud and biodiversity. So one of the things we do as a species, as a keystone species in low population density numbers, is we disturb the soil. It's one of our roles in the ecosystem. So what we do is we decide we like walking from one place to the other, from resource to resource, and we create pathways like this, hollow ways like the one that we were in previously, and it creates very specific habitat for lots of different things. That is one of the things that we do in the landscape, which is pretty cool. However, then it starts to rain and we get the rainy season like we're in now. And those pathways turn into a movable slurry of mud. And we still want to get from A to B. And in that mud is stored all of the seed from all of these plants that are fruiting around me. So the mud gets stuck to our clothing, to our boots, to the undersides of our feet, gets stuck to absolutely everything. And we move it from one place to another. Now in that seed is stored the genetic material from these plants here. And it might be deposited 1 mile, 2 miles, 5 miles down the way. So if that seed then germinates and then matures and goes to flower, it will then be pollinated by plants from elsewhere. It's taking the genetics of its mother plant here and then moving it somewhere else. Now, why is that important? So when plants sort of cross and are pollinated by other plants, we get this thing called vigor. So like, you get more vigorous growth, you get healthier sort of plants. So by human beings wandering through the landscape and via the artistic medium of mud splattered on our shoes and things, we can increase the sort of vigor of ecosystems. And I think that's pretty cool. What a day. The sun is starting to set and this wind is really starting to pick up. Whew. Cover the microphone. If you're a beginner forager and you're thinking about learning what is good to eat in the landscape, now is an incredible time to start. I think the depths of winter is really good because it forces slowness. One of the main mistakes that people make when they are starting to learn foraging as a discipline, because it is a discipline, is they start to run before they can walk, and that is when mistakes can happen. Not to put too fine a point on it, it is really important not to let your excitement drive your decision making when out and about. There is plenty of things that we have met today which could put you in hospital or kill you. I haven't shown too many of them on the video. Most of what grows at this time of year are beginner-friendly plants. So there is chickweed, stinging nettles. What else have we seen today? You have jelly ear mushrooms, you have hairy bittercress, we have sorrel, we have dock. We have all of these things which are good to learn first off without getting too excited and trying to jump headfirst into mushrooms. So I would start now, start slow, get a book for Christmas and use the dark evenings to really learn your plants. And then go out on a day like today, and when you find what you've been looking for, it is 100 times more rewarding if you have survived the lashing wet rain and, you know, been out in the wind for hours. It is a really rewarding thing. And then comes summertime through into the autumn in this season of abundance. Not only will you have the skills necessary to identify plants and fungi, but you will also know how much nicer it is to forage on a sunny afternoon than in a gale force wind. And you'll be completely infused with that sort of gratitude, I guess. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. My name is Joseph. This is Fieldstudy. If you enjoyed this, hit the thumbs up and hit subscribe for more foraging videos from this beautiful landscape. New videos are released every Sunday, and if you become a member, you get a little glimpse behind the scenes on a Wednesday evening. Right, until next week, take care.